Thank you to viewers like you for supporting this channel by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Hi, this is Joanne with Creative Writing Study Group, and I am here with Aimee Child. She is the Municipal Liaison, or ML, for NaNoWriMo, and Camp NaNoWriMo is next month, July, and I'm here to talk to her about it and hopefully help to kick y'all off to do Camp NaNoWriMo. Now, Aimee has written or published 3 books, and she has a 4th book on the way called Conspiracy Landing. It's the 2nd in a series of conspiracy. I'm curious, did you write all of them during Nano?
For the most part, yeah. They all have their own little stories. As far as conspiracies, well, the first book in the conspiracy series, Conspiracy's Doorstep, I wrote that for Nano in 2009.
Oh, wow.
And it's changed a lot since then. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, this year it's changed so much. I should mention, I forgot before we get going, NaNoWriMo is National Novel Writing Month. It is the month of November, but in the summer they have Camp Nano, which is a bit more relaxed. Mm-hmm. However, I went on the new screen and I have questions. I went on the new screen and it doesn't look as relaxed as last year. So that's one of the questions I'll have for you. So do you want to describe the differences between camp and regular Nano?
All right. Well, for those of you who aren't familiar with regular Nano, it happens during the month of November, and it's a personal challenge for writers to create 50,000 words of new fiction in the month of November. So 50,000 words in 30 days. It is a challenge, and a lot of people see that 50,000 mark and their eyes bug out and they're like, how can anybody possibly do this? It is very doable. It's okay. But,
I did it, just so you know, I did do it. I think I've only been doing it for 5 years though, so nothing like you. And my goodness, I want to say Run Rat.
Megan.
Megan, that's it.
Yeah. I've technically, I started in 2007. I skipped 2008, but then I've been doing it solidly since 2009. So I don't remember what year exactly. The people who run Nano, they used to run a program called Script Frenzy, which happened in April, and it was about writing 100 pages of script, any kind, comic book, movie, film.
Interesting. I
anything.
didn't know that.
Yeah, and I was a regular participant in that, but that was nowhere near as popular as Nano was. So they decided to scrap that program and introduce what they call Camp Nano, which happens in April and July. And Camp Nano is different from Nano in that you can set your own goal. You can choose to do editing. You can work on fiction that you've been working on before. There's no particular rules. You just kind of do your own thing, but it gives you that time frame so you can actually do, you can sit down and say, for the month of April or the month of July, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to work on this. So there is that structure in that. And
I usually set my goal as an editing goal, because usually I wrote my Nano book and I haven't touched it. And it's like, okay, you got to touch it. Now, I will say I've never completed a camp. I'm so busy in the summer. Even when I make the goals really small,
And, a lot of people do that. And for some reason, April seems to be more difficult than July. And I think it might just be because you're like, April is suddenly there and you didn't realize, I need to get into writer mode.
Yeah.
Whereas July, it's a little bit further down. I'm good. I'm in a place where I can write. And who knows? But with Nano and Camp Nano, you shouldn't feel like you have to finish. It is a personal challenge. There's no prize other than like a certificate and maybe some discounts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
First time I did NaNoWriMo and I won, and you click on the thing. I didn't know what to expect. I clicked on it, and then a video came on, and they went, "Yay!" And I just started crying. I was just because it is a tough challenge. But yeah, see, I'm tearing up already thinking about it. Now, I haven't had that same effect as I did that first year, but that first year I just was bawling. And I came out, I didn't finish wrong.
But and you knew that you could do it, and you know, it gives you, it's such a confidence builder.
A day early.
Nice. Congratulations. And that was the first year you did it?
That was the first year. I was very consistent.
Okay.
And my graph was like that. The only thing is the last day I went up, and the only reason, not a lot because there wasn't much more to do, but the only reason I did it is because I was competing with another, and I was always ahead of him, and then it was coming to the end, and I was like, oh my God, he's going to beat me after all this. So
and that competition is a great motivator.
Yes,
you know?
it is.
Like,
and it's funny because December is like nothing.
Yeah.
December,
you sit down, you relax, forget about it.
Yeah, even January, I think
yeah.
But February, I start to like, I got to do something.
Yeah.
But camp is more relaxed. But like I said, I know they merged it with NaNo, and I did not see as much flexibility in your goals.
Yeah, I think they're still working on it. In April, they only had, you could adjust your word count goal, but it only had the word count.
That's what
it didn't have the time. Like if you're doing editing, a lot of people will choose to do hours or minutes and count it in that. And I haven't actually looked at this time to see if they've updated that or not. I think it's coming.
I was on like a week or two ago, and they didn't.
It was still hadn't. Okay.
Yeah. It must have been 2 weeks ago, so maybe they have.
Yeah, the whole website has been a work in progress. They had promised a new website ages ago. Took forever to actually roll it out, and when they did, it was very buggy, very.
Last year, I liked it though. I liked how you had all these choices. You could even just say, "I want to work on writing an hour a day." And I thought that was wonderful, but that's when they had, I have to say, I never liked the cabins, never liked them. But what I wish they would do, and NaNo, if you're listening, I wish they had a internal Twitter thing just for your peeps, your buddies.
Yeah, I think that for the most part, things like Twitter and other social media sites are largely set up by us MLs. Like the Northern Virginia Facebook page we have is run by us. We do have a Twitter account. I think the wonderful Morgan Hazelwood sort of administers that.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, Morgan, she's one of our peeps. No, we have a lot of people who come back year after year to participate in NaNo, and she's.
So you guys, despite me being in your group, I'm actually kind of far. I'm in Loudoun. You guys are in Fairfax, so I'm actually kind of far. So I met Megan. She came to our group because we have a group at our local library, but. Other than that, I haven't really met many people.
Yeah, the Northern Virginia region itself is massively huge. It stretches all the way from...
Fairfax is massively huge. I mean, in members.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've got thousands of people who are signed up as participants. Now, we only tend to meet maybe about 50 of them. So I know a very small fraction. But... yeah, we've got a lot of very active writers, a lot of wonderfully creative people, and the problem is you're. I know I recognized your name, so I knew you've been a participant before. Yeah, but unfortunately that.
Or am I a troublemaker?
Well, aren't we all? But that Loudoun County group, that sort of northern Virginia, is. it's almost on its own. And we've tried in the past to split the region up a little bit, but headquarters has not been.
I don't mind. I actually like that group, the Facebook group. I do like it. And
no, we're welcoming to everybody. I've got a couple of friends who live out in Oregon who are on the Facebook page. Like, well, whatever. Well,
then I should say put it out there that the group is called nanites, and nanites is a term made for everyone who participates in NaNoWriMo, which I've had that question before. What's a nanite?
Wouldn't you like to know?
It's like, I have jargon. You're just a muggle.
And we'd have to, I was out on my walk earlier today, and I went in a direction that I don't usually go, but it kind of went up through the neighborhood areas a little bit. And I saw this lady standing out in her yard with a couple of little kids. I swear she was wearing a NaNoWriMo shirt. And I'm just like, I just kind of kept staring at her. I'm like, should I say something? I don't know. I'm not close enough to see if it actually is a NaNoWriMo shirt, but it looks like one. And I'm just like,
you're one of us.
Are you one of us? Are you one of our people? We get so excited.
I have to admit, I do too. I have the NaNoWriMo thing on my laptop so people know when I'm at the coffee shop.
Yeah.
That's why I'm there. So I am curious. I digress because I'm meeting a nanite. But one of the questions that my daughter said to ask is, suggested, is that because you are active in in setting up this regional group, how does one find these groups? Because I did not know Nova Nanites. I think I stumbled upon it or somebody mentioned it in our group about the Facebook group, because it's not really advertised on the site. So how does one find out about their local?
This is always a difficult one. And that's, why I was telling the story about this lady I saw, because I don't, she wasn't anybody that I knew. So she's not one of those 50 or so people that I've met. and it's, for me, when I'm out doing like writers groups or just out and about in general, if I happen to start talking about writing, it always devolves into Nano, or maybe evolves, I don't know, but it always turns into Nano. And I've met several people who are like, I either don't know about Nano or have done Nano, but don't know about the organized group that we have. So, I certainly tell them word of mouth is a huge thing. The Nova Nanites Facebook page you do have to ask for membership. It's a closed group.
Right. Which is good, because even in my Facebook group, it's a closed group, and you have to ask. And we still get crazies in there. You still have to bump people out and like, come on, you're not.
There's always somebody.
Always somebody.
And and we actually set up a couple of questions on the Nova Nanites page, but it's hit and miss whether somebody actually answers them. I don't approve anybody if they don't answer it, unless I know.
Oh, yeah, same here. I have one that says required, right? It's the second question. It says required. They'll answer the one above it and below it, but they won't answer the required. And I'm like, dude.
Is it that hard?
Yeah, I know. Now, the only thing I can think of, every once in a while, one slips. I go, oh, I just approved him. But I think they have these auto ones, and they'll approve as long as it does something. I don't know, but I never understand that. Maybe they panic when it says required, but I do find the ones who usually don't put the required, they're from a non-English speaking country. So I wonder if they either panicked at the word required, or they don't understand.
Or they're just bots.
Or they're just bots. Although, why answer the first and third? Second?
Yeah, no, our questions are really simple. One is, what is NaNoWriMo?
Ah!
And the other one is, where in Virginia do you live?
Okay. That one you could lie. But I'm guessing you don't really, because you have two people from Oregon.
Well, they're friends of mine. So
So you could tell them a place.
Yeah, one. Well, I think actually only one of them is on there. It's husband and wife, but she asked to join the group one day. I'm just like, this is for Northern Virginia. You realize that, right? And she's like, yeah, it just looked interesting. I'm like, okay, I mean, I don't mind if you're on there. If you want to do Nano, it's all good. Just so you know, we're pretty specific.
Yeah, but, well, no, I take that back. I was going to say, but usually it's pretty general comments.
Oh yeah, a lot of the non-Nano time content is writer tips, suggestions,
It's
different
not
stuff
until
like that.
the actual month that
Right, when
see
we start organizing.
and you see meetups. And I loved last year where everyone posts their favorite coffee shop. This is where I'm gonna be. Like a week or two before everybody started posting coffee shops. I was like, I love this. Where's that?
But as far as getting back to your original question of how do we find this stuff, to begin with, it's up to people who, if they know about Nano, they want to do it, they go to the website and then they figure out where their home region is. And of course, you're going to get all the information of, our Discord, our Facebook, all of that stuff. That's
so
on
it
our
is
region
on
page.
there.
Yeah, it's on the. It's not in a nice format. They're just plain.
No.
Yeah,
Never was.
I can't. Yeah. Well,
And
it used to be you had
find
words. Yeah. But now they're just big old links, and it's just like, come on, Nano people, make it look nice.
But I never liked their forum area and searching.
No, I never.
It never made sense.
And the forum isn't connected to the region page. So like,
oh,
if you're on the main website, you can go to different stuff. Like you can go to your region, and I've got groups set up for Camp Nano, which can hold up to 20 people. So they're kind of like cabins, but you can make groups out of anything at any time you want to. It's a nice thing.
Yeah.
And I can get to, a simple click and I can go exactly where I want to. If I go to the forums, I've got to go back to the Nano main page in order to get to anything else that's on the it's just like, why did you do it this way now?
You think they have the money now?
I mean, it's a non-prof, so I don't.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not going to attribute any of that to.
That's
anybody.
true. It's a non-profit. I hope they fix it.
Yeah,
Maybe they don't know that it's a problem.
Well, there's actually a forum board where you can list suggestions and stuff. And as far as those of us who are returning MLs, we have a Facebook page too, and they recently put up something about what's the priority for you guys as far as getting things done on the website. So we're pretty interactive with giving them suggestions and telling them what would be easier for us and our participants.
So what is your goal for camp next month?
Honestly, I haven't even said it yet. I think it's going to be to start working on the third book in the conspiracy series. I want to try and get it actually done by December, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
So is that a thriller?
No, it's actually a sci-fi.
Oh,
sci-fi adventure. Would you like me to describe it a little bit, or?
Okay, yeah. Only because I love sci-fi. Usually I just skim over it, but I like sci-fi. And there's very few good sci-fi books out there.
Well, I don't know. I'm not going to claim any sort of goodness.
Well, because there's a lot of old stuff, and a lot of the old stuff is sexist.
Oh, well, yeah. Okay.
So,
Mine's certainly not, no.
Yeah.
But the main characters are twins who have psychic powers. Their names are Xylin and Xysolm. Their mother died in childbirth because she'd been beaten up by an evil syndicate, horrible people, mystery folks. Yeah, this is the start of the conspiracy, sort of. Well, it started before that, but she got beat up by them and didn't do too well. So their father, she didn't do too much. So their father, eventually, yeah. So their father left them with family friends who technically were actually family as well. The twins never actually knew that. So he left them with the family friends, and he went off to go try and find the people who were responsible for their mother's death. And he came back a couple of times, but he wasn't a large part of their life. And their life, even though these family friends were wealthy and powerful, it was still kind of miserable because they experienced a lot of racism.
Okay, so this is sounding more fantasy than sci-fi to me.
Oh no, I mean there's ships and planets and
Oh,
it's
okay,
definitely
okay.
it goes on further. So they ended up getting framed for murdering the family that they live with. Which of course they very much did not do. So they have to go on the run, and they're kind of looking for their father, who's disappeared for many years at this point. And they're trying to find the person they think is actually responsible for the things they've been blamed for. And he's the main villain is this fellow who he's actually from Earth. Surprises.
Are they not from Earth?
They are not. No, they're it's a different area altogether, but through a mistake he ended up in their particular area, and he was raised by scientists who used him for military experiments, so he's a little bit warped. So it's the whole series is their adventure going on, getting framed and going on the run, and then eventually facing this guy who started all of it for them.
And this you did write in Nano?
Originally, yeah.
Originally, that's very cool. Yeah, I have a couple of books that I wrote in Nano that I love, and every once in a while I think back to them, and I think I really should finish that because it was really good. But of course, I'll go back and read it and go, "What the fuck I was thinking?" But but so one of the questions my other daughter asked is she completed NaNoWriMo about 2-3 years ago. I think her senior year of high school. But she said one of the things she found is most difficult is being motivated in the middle of Nano. And any tips that you can give to keep motivated while you're
writers groups? I mean, yes,
Yeah.
a lot of us are very much introverts, and we would prefer to do our work alone. But at some point, you've got to get out of your normal space. You've got to be somewhere like we have regular write-ins during Nano where we go to, like, say, Panera or a library, or there's different things in different places.
And if you don't have one set up at your library, I bet you can ask your librarian and ask if they'll set
Absolutely.
one up and advertise it and such. And if you tell them soon enough, they might even get it into their bulletin.
If you're looking to do something for November, now is the time to start looking into it. A lot of libraries want 3 months advance notice. So we actually schedule the kickoff party, which is usually at the end of October. We'll schedule that with the Fairfax Library at the end of July, so to get on the calendar. However, we have now a friend at Fairfax, and she just schedules it immediately. I
think that's what they do at my library too. But they scaled it back a great deal. They used to do 2 weeks in October, one prep and one, but they scaled it back. I don't know why.
Do you work with, was it Vern James?
Yeah.
Okay.
V, but he goes by V. But
V. Okay.
Yes, actually he was one of the interviews I did because he put his book on Audible.
Oh, okay.
And that was really fascinating. If you wanted to put your book on Audible, that was interesting to hear how to do that.
Yeah,
but
he's been a regular participant for years. I've never actually met him, but he's been wonderful about setting up write-ins and stuff, and I think he's been responsible for a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, his write-ins. What I found fascinating about the write-ins is I thought, you just sit around and you write together? Why? But it is astonishing if you get a chance to go to one of these write-ins. It is astonishing how you can sit there and listen to them typing away and everyone's focused on their laptop, and you just feel this need to write. And
it's part of that competition you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
It's and word wars are another fun thing. On our Discord channel, well, and this is something available to all Discord, is there's a bot called Sprinto bot. There's actually a couple of different ones, but we use Sprinto. And it's actually a program where you write and you put in how long you want to do a word war, word sprint for, and it sets up a timer and tells you when to start, when to end, and
very cool.
Yeah, and anybody who participates, it gives you the word count that you had during that time.
I would lose.
It doesn't matter. No, winning, losing doesn't matter. It's more
it's
like
how
for
you
me.
play the game.
For me, I was last Nano. I was using Sprinto when I didn't have a whole lot of time to write. Like if maybe I only had an hour or so, and I knew that I could get about 500 words per 15 minutes. So I'd just do 4 15-minute sprints. And
on a good day, I could do 520 minutes. But that's if it's a really good day. I can't do that just.
Well, I mean, that's about my average. Everybody's different. You know, don't ask Megan what she does because it's ridiculous.
See, I read slow, and I always feel that since I read slow, does that mean I write slow? But I talked to CJ Ellison, and she suggested dictation. And she said that can get you thousands of words per hour. And I went, what?
They're not necessarily good words.
Have you ever met CJ?
I have not met her, but I know she's a regular participant. Again, I haven't really met most of the folks that are further north.
I don't know if she does. No, she hasn't mentioned, but she wrote 20 books in a 6-year period. And what was I going to say about NaNo, the 6,000 words? Oh no, she's super organized, like crazy organized. Like I envy her, but at the same breath, it's like, that's cool. That's a little too intense for me.
Well, and speaking, since we're talking about Nano, there's
organized. I'm sorry, I said that. Woo.
No, it's fine. There's definitely different schools of thought, and people are always asking us, you know, what's your process? How do you do this? How do you do that? My process is I sit down and write. I am not super organized. I just sit down and write, and whatever comes out.
Are you a pantster?
Yes, total pantster.
Okay.
Absolutely.
First book, pantster, and then every story after that, I've been a planner, and I personally find the stories are better for it. That's my experience, and I often like to say that. Now, I have had problems with pantsters who say, "Oh, I think you lose something in the creative process when you plan." Thank you.
No, everybody's process is different.
Thank you. That's why it makes you're a good ML because that drives.
No, I won't. I will never tell you that. Yeah.
And I'm with you on that. I think every person has a different creative process. But I had a couple of people. It's not more than one who told me, "Well, I think planning, stifles the creativity." It's like, what do you think I do? You think you make it up whether you plan it or all right, I'm going on a rant now. So
some people need to see things laid out in front of them, and some people don't, and that really is what it comes down to. It's like I don't feel like I could write, I don't know what's happening over here if I don't know what happened over here first. So I can't really see that. It's not. So for me, planning doesn't work. It's like, well, maybe it'll go there. I don't know. So, for me, it's just, I just start at the beginning, start writing, and
I say I pantster the first one, but with the pantstering, I did know where I wanted to end up at the end of the book. So because I needed an ending to work towards, and by having an ending, I was able to build a plot and a story arc. So I personally needed the ending, but now I'll do each act. I will plan out each act. I'm not as super organized and plan like CJ does. Although I really
some people are
want to
hyper organized.
Yeah, 20 books in 6 years. I can't compete. But I would love to try it. I just don't know if I can handle that intensity that she has. But yeah.
And if you're talking about dictation, that works a little bit different, because you can almost do stream of consciousness. And that's why I say not all the words are necessarily good. You can get.
It's hard to do stream of consciousness when you're dictating, though, I think, because you have to say period, new line.
Well, there is that, yeah, and I have I don't think I would be able to do that. I'm just like, no, I just want to say the words. You figure out the punctuation. Yeah. Don't you know when a sentence ends? You're a program.
Exactly.
But yeah, that part of it would drive me crazy. But it's just as far as storytelling, you can go off almost in any direction that you want to, and then you come back and you edit it into something cohesive.
Yeah. Now the problem I always had, and I remember V saying as well, the third week is always the hardest, and for me, it's because I'm running out of ideas. Even though I planned everything out, I'm getting to the end and it's like, wait a second, I still need so many thousands of words. And then I usually come up with a subplot that I can add in or something. So how do you handle that third week, where that third week is tough?
For me, it's...
Now I'm talking NaNo. If you're doing 50,000 words, I forget camp is not a stress.
Right, and camp isn't a stress.
In camp, I vaguely recall in the middle of camp, you can, if you have 50,000 words, and then you're like, I'm not going to do it. I'm putting it down to 10. And you can put it down to 10,000 in the middle of the month.
So, if word count is the only thing they have on there, you can adjust it whenever you want to. I don't know if there's a cutoff. It might be like the 20th or something like that. But you can adjust it if you're looking like you're not going to get your 50,000 or your 25,000 or your 10,000. you can put it down.
I like the hour a day. I think that's going to be my goal, whether I put 50,000 words or not. I think mine's going to be an hour a day devoted just to writing.
And I wouldn't stress at all about the graphs and the getting the numbers in there and stuff. It's so much, again, a personal challenge, and it's dedicated time to work on writing. And that's, if you look at it that way, it's probably a lot easier to think about, okay, I do have an hour a day that I can sit down and write. And I talk about writing, it's you have to make it a priority in your life. Just like, oh, I'm going to eat healthy, or I'm going to go exercise for an hour, or I'm going to spend so much time with certain people. And you kind of make it a priority in your life. And if you do the same thing with writing, it becomes so much easier, because you get in the habit of, okay, this is what I'm doing now. This is the time that I have set out to do this. Camp isn't quite as good about making that habit as regular NaNo is, because
that's my goal. Camp is to because I had the habit and I was doing very well, and then life happened, coronavirus happened, and I'm missing a step. So I decided if I can make it an hour a day every day and make that my goal, then I can get back into that rhythm. And that's what I miss, is that rhythm. Yeah. But you're right. It's good to make it a habit. And for me, camp is more of, like you said, a personal goal that it can be almost anything. Like in the past, even though they asked for word count, I always was a word count of the pages I edited. So I figured 250 a page. And if I did, 2 pages, I would put down, I did 500 words. The only thing is, do they check in camp? Do they check?
There is a counter. And I think maybe that's why they don't have the other goals in there yet, because they haven't figured out how to jigger the counter to
Yeah, but you
do
can,
it.
and technically in all of them, you could cheat. It's not
Oh
hard.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Totally.
It's really the honor system, regardless why they have it there. Well, I guess it makes it a little harder to
It's not about cheating or not. It's a kind of that motivation factor. It's
yeah.
you like to see that graph going up every day.
Yeah.
How many people are like, oh, I put in 5 more words. Look, my little line moved. So it's that visual sort of I'm making progress.
Yeah. When I say checked, for those of you watching and don't know NaNoWriMo, it's when you finish the 50,000 words, you have to actually upload it into, or copy and paste it into a
Validator. Yeah.
a validator. Yeah. And they claim that they destroy it afterwards. So it's not.
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't get saved. Yeah. So that's only for Nano. Camp doesn't have a validator.
Okay. Camp doesn't have it. Okay. Yeah. I like the graph. I'm nerdy that way, but what frustrates me is when I forgot to put my words in the day before, then the graph is like this, and that annoys me.
They do allow you to edit now, so you can edit by day. Yeah.
Yay!
That's
because I always thought it's not rocket science to put that, because I'm a software engineer by trade. It's not that hard to put that in. So that always frustrated me, but I was like, let it go, Joanne, let it go.
Yeah, but there is definitely an editor, so you can go back and change your daily count if you missed a day.
So are you looking forward to this year's camp?
Yeah, I mean, camp is kind of a relaxed thing. I've set up a group for it. So if you are part of the Northern Virginia region and you want to be in our group, we can have up to 20 people. And if it goes over 20, we can put in more. We can make another group.
Okay.
Yeah. I can make unlimited groups. So
I would say I joined, but every year I join, I make a bunch of messages in the beginning, and then I drop out. I don't know what it is with summer, but it's difficult. But I'm determined this year. I'm going to do an hour a day, every day, regardless if it's editing or starting a new. Actually, I don't think I'm going to start a new story. What I was thinking of doing is editing and creating a outline for November.
Okay.
Because July and August, July is going to be busy, and then I have a feeling September may be busy because of the coronavirus.
We'll see what happens. Yeah. Well, and do you know the history of Nano? The early history?
I think he did it as a prank almost, or
well, it's some friends challenged Chris Batty to do 50,000 words in 30 days, and they originally, I think they did it in June, so it was because they were out in California, and it was nice to sit outside and write, so that's what they did. A bunch of writer friends. So it worked for them to do it in the summer, but then they found that when after the program started, they made it into an actual program, they thought November would be easier because there's like the Thanksgiving break, and they thought, oh, everybody will have time to write during this, even though
that's the worst.
I mean, he's my buddy. I don't do anything over Thanksgiving, so it's perfect time for me. But a lot of people do it together with their families, and they have.
Yes, I remember doing it. Now I try to get a little bit. I do a little bit more than that 1667. I try to do so by the time Thanksgiving comes, I have.
A little
in the last couple of years, I actually stayed home, but we usually goes to family, and then there's Black Friday. And I don't buy anything during the year. I wait to Black Friday because everything's on sale. Yes. Not that I'm not a big shopper, but it is one of those things that everything's so dirt cheap. So, that's when you do your clothing shopping. I remember getting my kids' shoes then, and tech, forget it. That's when you buy. So I was like, why? But I guess any month there's something going on. And like I said, I've never been able to complete the summer.
All right, well, you know, there's always a first year.
That's
got
true.
this.
This year. But yeah, so okay, so Camp NaNoWriMo is a great place to experiment, and I would suggest doing that to get a feel for Nano. They now merged the two sites, which I think was a good idea. And then prepare for Nano. And your goal is, what was it that you said?
Work on the third
Good,
conspiracy.
the third book. Yeah. So
I don't have it. I haven't decided what sort of, you know, word count goal to go with at the moment. So we'll see.
You can wing it along the way. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for doing this video. It dawned on me that it was coming up. Actually, my daughter's doing it. So thank you again for doing this at last minute. And Aimee Child, and she her book should be coming out soon, Conspiracy Landing. Do you have well, Conspiracy Landing, and your first book in the series called
Conspiracy's Doorstep.
Conspiracy Doorstep.
So that's the first one. Okay. And I do have a cover for the second one if you want me to send that to you.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask. Yes.
Okay.
If you could send me that, and I'll put that up. But thank you again, Aimee.
You're very welcome.